Mindful Life Practice.
I made this class 45 minutes because I had to move around the schedule this week and I didn't feel like teaching yoga past 9:30 p.m. So here we are. We're going to take a little breathing meditation to start. And then we'll move through some restorative yoga postures and then come into a shavasana. So bring your body into your cross-legged shape, your comfortable seat. Let your body be relaxed and your spine be straight. And then just rest your hands face down on the knees or the thighs. Close your eyes if it works for you and allow yourself to settle into stillness. Oh no, I told Maureen I would give her the code and then I never did. I'm the worst. Thank you, Jillian, for taking care of that. Try to experience a lift through the spine like stem of a flower. Just let the spine effortlessly support the skull. And then patiently focus on creating a steady and even, a gentle tide of breath. And as the body becomes still and the mind becomes relaxed, see if you can allow the breath to become relaxed. And then take just a few minutes to settle into this relaxed state of stillness of the body, steadiness of the breath. Begin now to focus your mind on just feeling this breath as it enters and exits through the nose. And observe this tide of breath just like you would watch the waves of the ocean crashing against the beach. And then just be present with whatever you experience. I was just taking my amazing teacher Jillian's yoga class just before this, and she was telling us about how she was trying to meditate this morning and her neighbor's dog just couldn't stop barking. It was driving her crazy. She was getting so agitated. But she said part of the practice is just being with that emotion, whatever it is that comes up. When these emotions come up, it's an opportunity for us to kind of look closer. Why is that coming up? What's going on? What can I learn from this about myself? If your mind wanders away, try not to be disappointed with that. Just come back. Coming back to the breath. As it enters and exits the nostrils. Let's just do this on our own for a minute or two, breathing. Feeling. Gently saying, come back. And if you have an intention for your practice today, I'd like you to take a moment to identify it now. For those of you guys that were with me earlier in Yoga Bar, I think it's just a few of you. I was sharing about how today was not the best day for me. A lot of things came up that brought up a lot of emotions in me. And so my personal intention around this practice is just to breathe and to be present with it all, and hopefully I'll end up feeling a little bit restored and a little bit rejuvenated at the end of it all. Let's take one more round of breath in total stillness. And then we're gently going to begin to move a little bit, just a tiny bit to kind of get the wiggles out, okay? Then we'll take stillness, I promise. So on your breath in, you're going to take both palms up towards the sky. And then on your breath out, let's drop into a twist. So we're going to land the left palm on the right knee and then just gaze over the right shoulder and take 3 breaths. And then inhale, come all the way up. Take your palms up towards the sky. And then exhale, twist the opposite way. So right palm's on the left knee, left palm is like a little bit of a kickstand behind you. Inhale your palms up towards the sky, reach through the arm. Land your right fingertips on the mat now and breathe in, lengthen. And then as you exhale, stretch over to the right, taking a lateral side bend. And then inhale, come all the way up through center, and then let's side bend the opposite way. Come all the way back up. Take both palms up now and just draw your palms into your heart center. Connect your thumbs to your sternum. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. All right, let's come into our first pose. So we're going to take a pose. It's called Vipariti Karani. It's called legs up the wall. So if you're not near a wall, there is an option. You can just lay on your back. And you could lift your legs up just like this, okay? That's one option. If you're not near a wall, but you have some kind of piece of furniture, like your couch, you might come down beside your couch and place your feet up like this. And if you do have a wall nearby, what we're gonna do is scooch our hips up towards the wall, lay your body back, rest your feet on the wall, rest the back of your head. I'm just gonna scooch for a second to get my phone so I don't leave us here forever. So Viparita Karani. I will often refer to this as like the dessert of yoga poses. I often do it at the end of the yoga class. But lately I've been in the mood to start with it. This pose has a lot of physical benefits. When we physically put our feet up, well, first of all, there's always been that expression, when people talk about someone at work who has their feet up on the desk. The whole image of having your feet up is associated with being relaxed, right? Someone who has their feet up doesn't really care about their work or they're relaxed. That's kind of the impression that body language gives off, right? So when we put our feet up, it's like a physical connection to relaxation. And it also has these benefits of the blood flow going back from the feet, which is the part of the body where it like pools all day, we're on our feet. Or if we're sitting on our couches all day because maybe we're in isolation, I don't know. You might just have a lot of like blood in your legs. And so when we reverse that by doing this pose, the blood is going to the back, which can be super rejuvenating for the back muscles, the shoulder muscles. And it's also going up towards the brain, which can just boost our mood. I want to tell you guys a little story. I'm not going to tell you a story about one of the things that happened to me today. But I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me about 3 weeks ago. And some of you might have been in one of the yoga classes where I told this story. And if that's you, I apologize, you're hearing it again. But there was an occasion where I posted something for virtual school. I posted a video teaching the students about nouns and verbs and adjectives. So I'm also a grade 1 teacher. This yoga thing is just on the side. Anyway, in the video, I mixed up one word. I thought it was a verb and it actually was a noun, something like that. And I corrected myself in the video. But a parent emailed the school. He titled the email "Concerns over the Quality of My Child's Education." And in the email, he questioned my qualifications as a teacher because I had mixed up what was a noun and what was a verb. And he said, even though we're all under stress right now, it's no excuse to be making mistakes. And my immediate reaction to this, I was really upset. I emailed my boss back saying, you know, maybe I'll just find videos on YouTube now, because if this parent wants me to be perfect, you know, I'm human, I'm gonna make mistakes. And if I just copy paste a YouTube video, then that kind of covers our butts, you know? Is that what you would prefer? And I seriously was so upset by this email that I almost didn't want to make any more e-learning videos anymore. Let's stay in this Viparita Karani for just 5 more breaths. And then we're gonna take our knees into our chest. Just give yourself a little bit of a hug. I am gonna finish that story when we get into our next yoga pose, I promise. That's not how it ends. So we're just gonna roll to one side. And we're gonna carry on with our forward folding. So we're gonna come into a balasana or a child's pose. Okay, so you can decide how to cushion yourself. You might have cushion or blanket underneath the knees, maybe like in between your butt and your heels if your heels are sensitive. You could even have a cushion underneath your body. Just kind of choose a setup that supports you. We will be here for about 5 minutes. So you can take your knees wide and then just kind of walk your body forward and then rest a cheek. So anyway, the nouns and verbs and adjectives story. So after this email response I sent, I went out for a walk. And something popped into my head. It's this metaphor that I've heard before. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I think I screenshotted it in my phone. The metaphor is about a cup of coffee. So this is a great analogy. You are holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along. They shove you or they shake your arm, making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill the coffee? Well, because someone bumped into me, of course. Wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because coffee was in the cup. If tea had been in it, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside of the cup is what will come out. Therefore, when life comes along and shakes you, which will happen, whatever is inside of you is going to come out. And it's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So I thought about this metaphor and I thought about this man, this parent who sent this email. And I realized I don't know what's happening in this person's life. Right? Maybe he lost his job. Maybe he can't handle being in his quarantine with his kids. Maybe someone in his family is very sick and he's worried about them. Right? I have no idea what caused this person to react to my mistake the way they did. But all I have the power of right now, all I have the power in is how I respond and how I react to his reaction. Right? I could say, because this man didn't like my mistake, I'm never going to make a video again. Or I could look at him with compassion and see that we're just all doing the best we can. And hope that he will look at me with compassion eventually too. Right, so today was one of those days for me. It was a rough day, and we have to ask ourselves, what is in my cup? right? When these challenging things come up, what spills over? Is it joy? Is it gratefulness? Is it peace? Is it humility? Is it anger? Is it bitterness? Is it harsh words or actions? You get to choose. Today, let's work on filling our own cups with what we want to spill out. Gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation to yourself and others, kindness, gentleness, love. Whatever else you want to put in your cup. Take about 5 more breaths in this balasana, this child's pose. Then slowly peel all the way up. We're going to bring our bodies into a spinal twist. So you're going to come onto your mat. And there's different ways you can support yourself. You can have a pillow underneath the knee. You can have a pillow in between the knees. Gonna open your arms into your cactus arms and then drop your knees over to the right. And then take your gaze over to the left. So what's one of the many things that upset me today? I'll tell you one. I decided to make some soup for lunch at like noon. And I realized that I didn't have a couple of the ingredients. So I decided to order on InstaShop, which for those of you that aren't in the UAE, it's just an instant delivery service. And the food came like many hours late. Shop wasn't responding to my calls. And by the time it finally came, I was about to teach my yoga bar class. And so I was in the middle of teaching the class when the bell started ringing from downstairs, and I told them to please just leave the food at the desk because at this point I could not come down. I was in the middle of a conference call. And then, we're in the middle of the flow, we're all up and down dog, and it rings again. And of course, I'm super irritated now because I'm trying to teach a virtual yoga class, and why can't they just leave me alone and leave the food at the desk like I asked? And then, you kind of have to step back from that reaction and be like, InstaShop was probably slow because there's hundreds of people ordering their food online right now. And the receptionist was probably calling me because she was worried about my groceries going bad, right? things that needed to be in the fridge. And when you step back from your immediate reaction, and give yourself a second to kind of analyze how you reacted and why you reacted. Just gives you a chance to change what is spilling out of your cup. Right? So by giving the time to rest, I was able to kind of go down to the front desk with a smile on my face and thank the receptionist for probably what's become a really hard job for her, because now she has to stop every delivery. They're not letting them come up due to the virus. And just kind of look at everyone around me with just a bit more compassion. And hope that my yoga students are looking at me with compassion when their practice is being interrupted by a ringing bell and a grocery delivery. Let's take one more round of breath on this side of your twist. And then we're gonna come all the way into twisting on the opposite side. This is our last pose before we drop into Shavasana. So landing your knees and opening your cactus arms. So this theme, practicing compassion, it's the first of the yamas, which is the first limb of yoga, ahimsa. I had a friend, Paul, when I was a young adult. He passed away, but he had this saying. He said all the time that kind of became, the saying on his obituary and on the pamphlet at his funeral. And his saying was, love more and judge less. Love more and judge less. And I think as humans, it sometimes just benefits us even more than the people that we're judging, if we try to look at them with a compassionate lens. It's more for ourselves than anything. Helps us be in peace. The side of the twist for your last few breaths, maybe contemplating this. How can I channel ahimsa, which is love and compassion? I practice and in my life. How will that serve and benefit not just me, but the people around me? Take 5 more breaths in this twist. And then come all the way back up through center. Give yourself a tight little hug. And then decide how you want to finish your practice tonight. Could be in a shavasana with your legs outstretched. Could be coming up into a seated meditation. This restorative practice flies by when it's 45 minutes, doesn't it? I think the idea of having some shorter classes is kind of nice for allowing different people to fit it into their day. As we settle into our stillness, we settle back into our breath. We settle into our silence. I just want to leave you with one more quote. This is by a poet called Ruby Carr, and this is one that I return to when I've fallen into disagreements with people, when I'm harboring a resentment towards someone. This one always comes back to my brain. Wish pure light and soft peace to those who have been unkind to you, and keep moving forward. This will free you both. So an invitation, just an invitation. I'm gonna intentionally in this moment send a bit of love and light to someone I disagreed with today. Knowing that it will free me as well. It will free us both. You definitely don't have to, but it's just an option. Turn down the lights, turn down the bed, turn down these voices Tell me no lie. Just hold me close. Don't patronize. Don't patronize me. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. And you can't make your heart feel something it won't. Here in the dark, in these final hours, I will lay down my heart and I'll feel the power that you hold. No, you won't. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. Give your fingers and your toes a little wake up wiggle. Run a nice long stretch through your body. Bring yourself into a little hug. In this hug, maybe identify one single thing that you want to take with you off this practice and into your life. Remembering always to have that compassion and forgiveness for yourself as well. Didn't talk about it a lot in this class, but it's super important too. Forgiving yourself for mixing up the nouns and verbs. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Bring yourself up to seated. You can take your palms into your heart center and rest your thumbs on your sternum. Soften your shoulders and tuck your chin. And then let's seal our practice with an Om sound if you want to join. Inhaling and then exhaling, and then inhaling through to make the Om. Okay, so taking a breath in. And then a breath out. And a breath in. We close with an intention. An ancient intention, but the original intention. It's that our yoga practice remains steady, that our efforts remain continuous, that our yoga serves and benefits all beings everywhere. So not just ourselves, but the people around us, and then the people around them, and so on and so forth, making this giant circle, unifying us all. May all beings be safe and be happy and be healthy and be free. And may the thoughts and actions of each of our lives contribute towards this. Om Shanti Shanti, peace, namaste.
The Mindful Life Practice.